Hi, so sensory warning. He's not inaudible. You can understand him. He's very distorted and he echoes because I had to redo the audio because he had put copyright music on there, and I personally not caring much about monetization right now, but it's kind of an OCD thing. He messes with my auditory dysfunction, I guess you want to say it, as well. So if you do have sensory issues, it's your discretion is advised.
Flat Earth Proof 2. Pilot Principles. The Earth, said to spin eastward at a speed of 1,600 kilometers per hour at the equator.
Okay, this is why these people get really confused, because of this exact reason. And then even if I put RPM, because rotations per minute, this what comes up. So they automatically, my assumption is that they automatically take the first answer that Google gives you and then apply it to their debunking sort of stuff. Now, it works in accordance to Newton's law of motion. Since the Earth rotates once every 24 hours, it rotates 0.000694 RPM.
So then, how is a plane able to fly eastward at half that speed and reach its destination in more or less the same time as the return flight, when in fact the plane should never reach its eastward destination before it comes rushing up from behind it? And how is it even remotely possible to safely land an aircraft on a runway moving at such a speed?
Because the Earth doesn't spin that fast.
I shouldn't have to mention disasters. We can discuss rotation. While some claim that Earth's type despite no infinite vacuum.
Now, okay, so here's where a lot of people get it wrong. Space isn't a vacuum. The reason why it was called a vacuum, hence, was because that's what we thought it was. It was a vacuum. But now, since we have more data and more a better way of understanding space, it's not space, or it's not a vacuum anymore. It's the absence of material.
But the one fact against that is that for an average commercial flight flying an 8-hour, pilots would have to at a descending rate of 800 per minute in order to follow the.
Dear Captain Lim, I have limited flying experience, 2 introductory flight lessons in a Cessna, and several commercial flights, including some transatlantic trips, so please excuse my ignorance. I was wondering, since the Earth is spherical and the curvature is approximately 6 foot drop for every 3 miles, i.e. a 6 foot person will disappear over the horizon 3 miles away, does a jet aircraft need to be constantly adjusting the nose down to adjust for the curvature of the Earth? I had to redo that question, sorry. In other words, if a plane was trimmed for straight and level flight, it would gain altitude while flying as the Earth's surface fell away due to the curvature. Thanks for your time and consideration, Johnson. Hi, Johnson. This is an interesting question. A plane will fly at a constant altitude and will follow the curvature of the Earth and would not gain altitude during the level flight. For instance, if a plane is cleared to maintain 35,000 feet, by regulations, the pilot must maintain that level based on a standard biometric pressure setting. Hence, it would stay at an altitude because the pilot is either controlling the plane manually or has engaged the autopilot to achieve that. There are two basic instruments that enable this procedure: an altimeter and a vertical speed indicator, VSI. The VSI provides short-term changes in pressure and indicates whether the plane is climbing or descending. These changes will give an indication that the pilot so that he or she would level the plane to maintain 35,000 feet. He or she will adjust the controls very slightly by using the elevator and trim. This can be performed automatically by the autopilot as well, such as the flight controls are constantly moving very subtly to maintain the correct altitude. You said that if the plane was trimmed for a straight and level flight, it would gain altitude while flying as the Earth's surface falls away due to the curvature of the Earth. Well, that probably would happen in a perfect motionless atmosphere where the plane would fly dead ahead and over time gain altitude, provided it was had a sufficient thrust as the Earth curves away from under the airplane. In reality, a constant altitude must be kept using a standard pressure, and that means a fixed distance to the Earth's center of gravity is maintained, making the path of the plane a curved one. So a plane is not flying a straight line, geometrically speaking. And that was Wednesday the 11th, February 2015. So that was pretty recent.